Your day moves fast. Your news should too. That's why there's a new and improved Wish TV app bringing you more local news, breaking alerts, live streaming, weather forecasts, radar, and Indiana sports all in one place. Customize your news feed to see the stories that matter most to you and get the information you need when you need it. Download the new and improved Wish TV app today on iOS or Android and take News 8 with you everywhere.
Music, dance, theater. It's time to take a seat on the aisle with Tom Alvarez. Hear from performers, producers, presenters, and creators who enrich our lives in the performing arts. Who's on stage? Here is Tom Alvarez to introduce you.
Hello, and welcome to On the Aisle with yours truly, Tom Alvarez. My guest on today's show is actor, singer, director Jeff Owen. He's also the Chief Operating Officer of Claude McNeal Productions. Join me now as I go on the aisle for a conversation with Jeff. Good morning and welcome to my podcast, Jeff.
Good morning. Thank you for having me.
Well, it's been a long time since you and I have laid eyes on each other.
I know.
So let's catch up.
Okay. Sounds good.
Okay, first of all, I know you for many years, starting with your company that you're still with, and we're going to delve into that deeply today, but Claude McNeal Productions. So bring me up to snuff. What's going on?
Sure. Well, so we founded Claude McNeal Productions in 2005. And the first 15 or 16 years, we really concentrated on expanding our educational programming. We ran the theater department at Heron High School for 17 years, from 2006 to 2023. And then our Act Out social issue theater program, which travels around the state and goes into classrooms, and they perform live in front of students. They act out social situations that kids find themselves on a daily basis. That has just really exploded. So that's our largest program that reaches close to 9,000 kids a year across the entire state. We became evidence-based in 2021, which really helped to legitimize the program, that it does work, it does change behaviors in the classroom. So we've kind of focused on our educational programming, but since we moved into a new venue in 2023, McGowan Hall, we're starting to bring back the original cabaret main stage productions that we produced and presented at the American Cabaret Theatre when it was in the Athenaeum.
Okay, and that's when we met.
Yeah.
And you were a performer,
Yep.
but now you are currently the CEO, is that correct?
COO. So
COO.
Chief Operating Officer.
Okay.
So yeah, I started
so
this
you manage
project.
the business.
I manage the business side of things and supervise all the educational programming, and I'm more directing in my older age now, so than performing. It's been a long time since I performed. So
And how is Mr. McNeal?
he's doing great.
Yeah.
He just turned 90, if you can believe it. So, but he's in great health and he's doing really well. He's working on a new show, a 3-part show that is kind of the history of America, how we got to this point. So it's called, right now, I think the working title is We Are the People, but he's doing it in 3 one-hour segments that we will eventually turn into like an educational matinee for probably middle school and high school students.
So for those who don't know who Claude is, give me a little brief thumbnail sketch of his bio and how it is that he ended up in Indianapolis.
Sure. Well, he's from the East Coast, was born in Maine, but then ended up in Connecticut somehow. He is a Yale graduate. He ran the theater department and taught creative writing in a little college in, I think it's Bridgeport, Connecticut, called Sacred Heart University. And that's where he's a playwright. So he's been writing plays since the late 60s, early 70s. He had a play that was being produced in London called San Francisco Saturday Night. And while he was there, he went and saw his first European cabaret and just fell in love with how the actors performed the material as if it was spontaneous, and it really he said it captured the mood instantly. And he said, I would like to create something that is the American version of it. So hence the name American Cabaret Theatre. But after he went to London, he went back to Connecticut, and they really got, I think it was called the Downtown Cabaret Theatre in Bridgeport. They opened that in the early 70s. He did a production called Decades, which is the story of America through the popular song. And that ran for 2 years off Broadway. And then from there, they got some connections to travel the show, and they ended up in French Lick, Indiana in the mid 80s, I believe. And then some Indianapolis people were down at the resort in French Lick and said, that you should bring this to Indianapolis. So in the 88, 89, they came to Indianapolis, and they first...
Who is they? He had a company?
Claude.
Yeah, Claude's had a company.
Yeah, it was called American Cabaret
Correct,
Company.
but he had performers, a repertoire group?
Well, he had 3 or 4 that were from the French Lick area, and then he had...
I see.
He's got 2 people with him, Mary Lou Sechel and Jerry Panettiere, that have been with him for over 50 years.
Right.
So they've traveled with him from Connecticut.
That's what I meant.
Yeah. So they came with Claude. The 3 of them came, and then there were a few, like Bob Motz, who was one of our performers. He was originally from the French Lick area, and they moved up to Indianapolis, he and his family. And then everyone else, they held open auditions, and that's where we found Shannon, or that's where they found Shannon Forsell, for instance, Brenda Williams, Peggy Chambers, all the cabaret legends here from the American Cabaret Theatre. So, but it was called American Cabaret Company when they first moved to Indianapolis, and they were at Hilton on the Circle for, I think, about a year. And then Larry Conrad, I believe, who was involved with Lillian Dowman at the time, helped them get into the Athenaeum, and that's when they changed the name to American Cabaret Theatre. I moved here in 93, auditioned a few places, and then I auditioned. I didn't get cast, which is fine. I was just out of college, and I auditioned for Claude in September of 93 and have been working with him ever since.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Well, of course, that's when we first came to know each other back in those days, when I regularly wrote reviews for, I believe I started with Arts Indiana, and then I moved to Nouveau. So It was during those years. And then I lost track of you after you left American Cabaret Theatre and began your other activities. So, and I remember quite well that company that you mentioned, including Jerry and Bob and Shannon and Peggy and Brenda, and I have great fond memories of those performances at the Athenaeum, and they really did. Claude was responsible for bringing that art form to Indy, and for those listening, as you know, and part of my background includes I'm a producer of Magic Thread Cabaret, but you should know that I was inspired by American Cabaret Theatre from the very beginning. As a critic, I was introduced to the art form by way of, and I became a lifelong fan. And over the years, I've seen cabaret all over the country, all over the world. I love the form. Before I go any further, I know I get the question all the time. What is cabaret?
Well, cabaret is really an art form, in my mind, that uses the form of storytelling along with singing the song. To me, it's really, in any cabaret performance, a performer breaks down that fourth wall, and they include the audience on the action or what's happening on the stage, rather than, in a traditional Broadway show or shows that you see, there's this fourth wall where they never look at the audience. They're always looking above them. They're in this imaginary world. But to me, in the cabaret art form, the audience becomes a part of the story.
There's interaction.
There's
with
interaction
the performer
with
and the
them.
audience.
Yeah. And I mean, the true roots of cabaret from the European were very political. They were in root cellars. They would bring people off the streets and take them down into the cellars, and they would do poetry. It was almost like a open mic for like intellectuals. You know, they would spot poetry. They would go against the political, tyranny of the day. And we can't really do that now, not as much as probably we'd like to, but it was very political in its day, and it had art.
Of course, in a lot of people's mind, and I'm sure you get this all the time, cabaret. Oh, is that like the movie with Eliza Minnelli and the Nazis and all that?
But I mean, I think cabaret was set up as a mirror to society.
But that movie does depict a certain kind of cabaret.
It does.
It's very political.
It does. And in our early days, I mean, and Claude always said this, and I agree with this, that the cabaret art form, with what he's trying to do, it does hold a mirror up to society, and it kind of shows them the good and the bad. And we don't take a political side, but we're just saying, here's what's happening now. And things have shifted so much in the last 5 years, but 20 years on what you can and can't say and can and can't do. But
as you know, the popular form of cabaret, as people know it, are singers and typically a pianist or a trio or a quartet.
Yeah.
And typically, I've seen so many kind of formats. I've seen, scripted material to make it sound like it's spontaneous, and some are better than others. But, some like to talk about their careers and they pick their most favorite songs, and others get more personal and talk about their personal lives, and some do a mix.
Yeah, it's
and
all
some
cabaret.
like to name drop about all the famous people they knew or whatever. So it's a mix, but
it really
what
is.
they all have in common is that, and some like to have direct conversations that include people in the audience in the act.
Right.
They try to control that. And, sometimes there are hecklers, so a live audience. But the key for a lot of current cabaret is intimacy, small rooms.
Yeah.
But even that is, it doesn't have to be, correct?
Right.
And when you were at the Athenaeum, that's like a 300, 400 seat
It was 400
theater.
seat theater.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it was the intimacy of the connection that the singer made with the audience.
Yes.
That you could feel like you were the only one singing too, right?
Yeah. I always tell our performers, you're lucky if you have that moment where you feel like you've grasped the audience. And there's only been probably 2 or 3 times in the last 30 years that I've been on either the cabaret stage or any other stage where I felt like I've been in the moment enough where I can really, like, I can feel the audience breathing with me.
It's something that you did that others that I had not seen and still haven't seen, I don't believe, are the use of visuals.
Yes. Yeah. Mary Lou Sechel has been the visual designer for Claude for, 50 years now, but they started that back in Connecticut. And they did have like early slide designs in the European cabaret, Dadaists and other visual artists would have pictures up on a projection or something. But that's something that really helps to tell the story more of, either a decade or a particular composer.
I appreciated it because at the time I was producing documentaries at Channel 6, and I worked constantly with visualizing material to tell the story, and that's why I really, I really enjoyed the work that.
And Mary Lou's an artist in her own right. It's really she spends a lot of time on each song and just tries to tell a story with colors, with artwork, with or still photographs. We're delving into using more video now.
And how do you project them now? They used to be up on, if I'm not mistaken, 2 screens that flank the stage.
Yes, yeah. So now we purchased an LED video screen a couple of years ago. Part of the reason, because of the location we're in, the lights would shine on any kind of screen that we put on the stage. And if we could hang slides on either side, but we thought, well, that's what we did at the Athenaeum. Let's do something different here. But then a designer friend of mine said, you know what? To cure that problem of the lights bleeding on the screen, you need to get an LED screen because.
Is it in the center?
It's in the center. It's a 10-foot by 16-foot LED
Hanging
screen.
from the...
No, it's sitting on the stage, but it can hang. And the great thing about this screen and most LED screens that I found out, you can configure it in different, so like for our Christmas show last year, we broke it up into 5 screens, 5 vertical screens.
So it's portable. You can move it around.
It's very portable.
Wow.
Yeah.
So tell me this, is it similar to, well, the LED technology here in the studios at Channel 8, for instance,
Yeah.
they have LED walls.
Yeah, that's exactly what they call it, an LED video wall is what they
Yeah.
call it.
Yeah, so you can recreate worlds.
Yeah, I mean, the images are crystal clear.
And of course, video is omnipresent on Broadway now. It's a hybrid,
Yeah.
stagecraft and video.
Yeah, a lot of people are using, well, it saves money on set pieces too.
Sure.
You can-
Well, I
know.
remember I was blown away, for instance, when I saw Anastasia and its use of video to recreate Russia and the tundra. And, I began seeing it in opera. Like I said, it's everywhere, right?
Yeah, it is.
And you guys were doing it a long time ago.
Well, we were doing still photographs and we were using the screen.
Yeah.
So we're delving into
Good
the video,
visuals.
but it's exciting. Yeah, I just, it helps you get into that world. I mean, Claude's biggest thing, and my job as a director is from the minute that audience member sits down in their seats, you don't want them to ever look away. You want them to be engrossed into the image, or into what's going on the stage 100% until you get to intermission,
So tell me about the years after the cabaret. You mentioned that you became involved with Heron.
Yes. So we kind of ran the theater department at Heron High School for 17 years, and we taught about close to 300 kids a year. We had a staff of 2 or 3 teachers. Marilu taught advanced acting and theater history. And then we had a class in playwriting. We had a class in technical theater. So we really concentrated. We had a youth in the arts program, which we still have, which is primarily now we do performing arts workshops in the summer. But at the time, we were working with, hundreds of kids a year. And then back in 2016, because we didn't have our own venue then, we formed like a summer stock kind of training program where we brought in adults to work with high school and college
I had
kids.
seen Pippin there. I told you that.
Pippin was part of
That's
that.
what you're talking about, that program.
Yeah, in 2016 was our first show with Jekyll and Hyde, and then in 2019 we did Pippin, and then we've done numerous. We did Little Shop in 2021, I believe. We couldn't do anything in 2020, obviously, but we.
And what did you retrofitted some hall at Heron? Remind me, you created a theater.
Well,
space?
the theater classroom used to be their old cafeteria years ago when they first moved in. So they retrofitted that space to be the theater classes.
And originally, for everyone listening, Heron at one time was the art museum.
It was
The art school.
art school originally.
Yeah, with the museum.
Yeah, John Heron. So
Before it moved to IUPUI.
yeah, and so I think Heron moved into that space in 2006 or 7. They started out doing some classes at the Harrison Art Center. That's where I think the program first started there. And then when Heron was finished with their renovations, they moved into that space. And Claude's wife, Janet, is the, I guess, president of now it's called Heron Classical Schools.
So you're no longer associated with Heron at all?
No.
Okay.
No. We in 2023, once we moved into McGowan Hall, we had really outgrown that space. You can only seat maybe 100 people, and there's no backstage area. There's no dressing rooms.
Okay, that's when you decided to revive the productions.
When we
I
finally,
see.
and the space is limited here. Like we didn't want something too big, but we were looking for a new space, and McGowan Hall just reminded us of the Athenaeum with the kind of balcony section.
How did you come across McGowan Hall?
It was through conversations I had with someone at the Clues Foundation. They were saying, if you're looking for a space, we've been talking to McGowan Hall. They're interested in maybe bringing in someone to use their space. Because I guess over the years, they had been known to have host some theater companies in there, but never a resident company. So we stopped over there, had conversations with, then his name was Robert Newport. He was the executive director of and managed the building, and he was on the board, and just fell in love with him and the building. And we wanted to do something similar to when we moved into the Athenaeum, is to help revitalize this underused community asset. I mean, it's been there since 1922. It's home to the Knights of Columbus, but they only meet there once a month. other than that, it kind of sat empty a lot. And we said, well, we've got these shows that now we have this space.
But it's no longer under the aegis of Knights of Columbus?
It is. It has two entities that operate the building. There's one, the McGowan Hall Foundation is set up to take care of the building itself.
Gotcha.
And then they have, I think it's called the Knights of Columbus Homeowners Association that actually owns the building. And they are kind of like the landlord.
I see.
Yeah, they take care of the
So
facilities.
it's a not-for-profit.
It is.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah. And the Knights of Columbus, as you know, are set up to raise money for...
Why did they move out? Did they
Oh,
declining membership? Or?
Yeah, I mean, they're still there and they still meet. It's just, there's newer buildings.
They still meet
They
there.
still meet there once a month.
Okay.
And there's a bar downstairs that a lot of their members can enjoy.
I see.
They go in there. It's just not as active as it used to be.
Well, as you know, and I was there recently for my first time, and, having grown up Catholic, I can tell you it's reminiscent of my youth, all the Catholic memorabilia and stuff.
Yeah, yeah.
If you will.
Yeah.
I loved it.
Yeah.
It just really has a lot of character, a lot of history.
Yeah. I love it. We moved our offices up into the balcony space because there really wasn't enough space for our costumes and props. And
I bet you it does remind you all of the old Athenaeum.
It does.
In so many ways.
Actually, before it got renovated. So now it looks like a theater office. Before we were in different locations throughout the city, just with an office, and it was just so clerical. And Mary Lou has this sign that says, "We do not lease rooms to theatricals," that she found somewhere. We have that above the door. It's like, it's a real theater office. We don't
Sure.
spend a lot of money on anything because we can't,
And over its years as a Knights of Columbus, did they have their own theatrical presentations and stuff?
They've had theater companies come in there. I think Agape Theater Company did a production of Pirates of Penzance there years ago, and they did Les Mis back in, I want to say, 2009, maybe 2010, but they've never had a resident company. But
is the theater outfitted for theater?
no, it's really a meeting hall, and it's they have a lot of weddings, receptions there, one night fundraisers.
Did they ever do big band dances?
They have, yes, they've had that over the years.
It comes from that era.
Yeah.
When they big bands.
Oh,
right?
yeah. They used to do a lot of that, and they had
Proms.
They had a lot of quinceaneras there now, and they have a lot of, they had bingo there for years.
It's just like whenever I hear the ghosts of the music from, Benny Goodman and,
Yeah, I'm sure they did. Well, and we've been there for a while, but I don't know too much about the history of the building, but it was Hugh McGowan that had a mansion in front of the building. And that got torn down, I think, in the 60s or 70s. Mm-hmm. But he built this as an extension to his home, behind his house, behind his mansion. But he opened it up to the Knights of Columbus. And I mean, there used to be, back in the 30s and 40s, I'm sure, a lot of, probably USO parties or things like that, a lot of dances and balls and parties. But in their mission statement on their website, before we moved in there, I was reading it, and part of their mission was to bring back the performing arts into that building. And so we helped them fulfill that mission. And we're all about just helping to, revitalize the use of that, because it's a great location, great parking space, like 67 parking spaces for free,
And does your association, do you have an association with Lilly Endowment as you did with the Cabaret?
They're our largest supporter.
So I know from my own background in arts administration that, for them, it's more about community development.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Yeah.
They support the arts, but through community development.
And through education. Like we're now in, because of all of our educational programming, we're in the education division rather than community development, which is where we were at the Athenaeum when we were there. But as we grow our main stage programs, we might, I don't know how that will work.
And I suspect a lot of your budget comes from your education programs.
It does. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, ACT Out has just, once it became evidence-based in 2021.
So you're ACT Out. Okay.
Yes, we're ACT Out.
I often wonder what happened to ACT Out.
We're still around.
So you have a company of people who go around and teach...
they perform scenes on the topics that kids are facing.
Everything from domestic violence,
bullying
to alcoholism, or
substance
mental
abuse,
illness, or...
Yeah, wow. We have a lot of programs
I lost track of those.
So that was started in 1995.
I remember. David, What was David's name? He spearheaded the beginning of that.
Well, no, that was actually Claude and a woman named Jessica Wiener.
Okay. All right.
So Jessica was
I think someone named David worked for him or whatever.
probably, they were
Doesn't
probably
matter.
involved.
Yeah.
We have 17 actors now, all from the,
And a lot of actors, that was their side hustle.
yeah, it's a good part-time
Is it
job.
still?
Oh yeah, it's a good
Wow.
part-time job. I mean, a couple of years ago when we had a contract with the Department of Education, we did almost 500 shows in a year around the state. So it was a very decent part-time job, for them. So that's been going since 1995, and it was called Act Out because of American Cabaret Theatre. So it's the acronym for that, ACT, but also it's acting out your problems. So it was kind of twofold why we called it Act Out. Mm-hmm. And the first topic was one topic. It was eating disorders at the time because the co-creator of Act Out, she was dealing with bulimia at the time. And so she brought in some psychiatrists, some doctors, and worked with them on developing the content for a script. And it's all done through improvisation. We develop the outline of the script, certain points we have to hit in the scene, but then it's done through improv. And then every school we go to, we tailor the shows based on what issues that particular school is having. So we've been doing it since 95.
So you're all over Indiana.
The whole
And
entire
we are the All Indiana Podcast Network.
Yeah.
And so it reaches the whole state.
Yeah.
So interesting. So are you in all the major cities? Fort Wayne, Evansville, Bloomington?
We've done
all
shows in there, but we're in the last year or two, we're really trying to expand our scope, and we're working with different community foundations in all of the counties. We have to kind of grow gradually, and we can't reach capacity yet, but we're not in every single county right now, but we'd like to be. We have done some shows. We were up in Fort Wayne in February. We're working with the school system up there to do a pilot program for 5 schools. Also, since 2008, Act Out has been tied with the Indiana Drug Education Association or Drug Enforcement Association, and they are one of the associations that helps rookie police officers with their mandated trainings. So since a lot of the counties that we've been into, like Evansville, Fort Wayne, South Bend, we go a lot. Like every year we travel to these places to work with new police officers, and we do scenes with their officers on how to deal with someone in a domestic violence situation or how to de-escalate any kind of problem. So that has been a huge outreach program for Act Out.
It's such a big problem, these episodes where you see a shooting taking place, a police action shooting that could have been prevented if the officer had right training about de-escalation, that kind of thing.
Well, and they were watching videos from the 70s. So this was somebody caught one of our shows at a conference.
Do you touch upon other things, other issues such as racism?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. And give me some examples of.
Well, we do a lot of those shows for like middle school students, kind of right, we're in that middle age before they go on to high school. But there's some scenes where some of the actors might portray like this party that one of the students is having, but someone feels left out, and they're like, well, why did you get left out? And they bring up the fact, well, it's because of the color of your skin. My family wouldn't want to have you come to this party. And we touch upon not only the behaviors of the students, but like how these are learned behaviors from your family, and then how does that make you feel, as the student being left out? How does that make you feel when you might not understand why you're not being included to this party? So we try to make it more tame rather than, all out political racism. But
how about obviously, as you well know, that immigration is very controversial right now. Do you have programming around treatment of immigrants or Latinos in particular is what I'm asking about?
Not in the schools right now, but they're doing it with the police. I know that. So they'll have situations where, an agent or like what would happen if an ICE agent comes up to you, and then how the police might interact with that. So I haven't been to those performances, but I know they're starting to work on those with the Drug Enforcement Association as well. Mm-hmm. Every year they come and help us with kind of model the content for what types of shows we need to be in the content for the show. So I know this year they included a segment on dealing with immigration.
Let's talk about diversity in your programming. Is that part of your mission? I would presume it is inclusiveness.
Oh, of course.
Tell me about it.
Well, I mean, I hate to throw this out because it means different things to different people, but we've always done colorblind casting, unless
there's
it's
a new term for it, Jeff. I'm trying to
there
think
is.
of it, and
I know. I'm not
can't.
PC on this.
It's like 2 or 3 times. It's changed again.
It has.
Something, identity, something or another.
I guess.
Yeah.
So, but I mean, we're inclusive on theater is the most inclusive world you can be in, So, I mean, we've always.
Brenda broke barriers.
She did.
As a member of your cast, as an African-American performer.
She did. And she helped to develop a more diverse audience. We brought in the Counts. I don't know if you were aware of them.
And you also had a male performer, Jimmy.
Jimmy Guilford. Yeah. He passed away a couple of years ago.
He was a legend, yeah.
He was with all these doo-wop groups, and we did a couple of doo-wop shows in the 90s. And there was a doo-wop group called the Counts that were from Indianapolis. And Mike Murray, who was our musical director at the time, brought them in for these 2 shows, and it kind of like revitalized their career locally. And we had such a diverse audience. And so we try to talk to our community and see, what the needs are out there and how can we represent people.
Claude had to have brought his East Coast sensibilities to Indianapolis in light of this, right?
Oh, he did.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, and they're all liberal, obviously, on the East Coast.
Well, there are the people like him, over the years, artistic directors, the people who started the IRT were from the East Coast. So Indianapolis, if left to its own devices, if it hadn't been for outsiders, I don't think we'd have what we have here now.
Well, and one of the things that
Brian Fonseca included.
Oh my gosh, Brian is
and
a gem.
You worked with Brian.
I did.
My dear friend.
Yeah,
Phoenix Theater.
I loved working
Angels
with him.
1 and 2. I saw both.
Did you?
Yes.
Yeah.
And I also saw them on Broadway.
Yeah, that was.
There were only one and 2, right?
Yeah,
was there
just 1 and 2. No.
Okay.
No.
Yeah.
I had to do it. I think as I was saying, I've mostly worked at either American Cabaret Theatre or Claude McNeal, but that was a chance I just couldn't pass up.
You played
Prior.
Yeah. Yeah. For those who aren't familiar with Angels of America, you have to tell them about it.
Well, it was set in the kind of the Reagan era in the 80s, but it's really, I mean, I played this character of Prior Walter, who was stricken with HIV, and he had developed AIDS, but he had hallucinations with angels. He had a boyfriend that was basically didn't know how to handle the situation and would stray on him. And I think it was kind of, to me, it was it's a hallucinatory story of dealing with resilience in the 80s, but it transcended that time period to really any decade. And it was full of just wonderful storytelling and characters, and that cast with Ron Spencer was in it, Laura Duvall Whitson.
I was going to mention he played Roy Kahn.
Yeah,
he
and
was
Brian.
Brilliant.
Yeah,
brilliant.
Yeah. I mean, and Constance Macy was the angel, and she. I mean, I was one of the only people that played the same character throughout. Everyone else had multiple characters that they played, and Gail Steigerwald, who was a Phoenix legend. I just, I had to audition for it, and I was like so hungry for it because I had to be a part of it, and I'm so glad I was.
One more example of Brian Fonseca's influence on this community.
I know.
I like to say, he's responsible for the education of at least 2 generations. All that work that he would bring that had been on off-Broadway 2 years prior when it came here.
Yeah.
Love, Valor, and Compassion. Remember those?
Yes.
Some of those shows?
Yeah.
And he was the first to do bilingual material, Latino. I was in one of his shows. And so,
I would go see shows when I could because, you're right. He would bring them from off-Broadway, and then it would go to the Phoenix, so.
It's remarkable how he's managed to get the rights to all that stuff that he did.
I know. He knows people. I don't know. But
he made us, he made a certain part of the theater community really pretty hip. I mean,
Well, I remember him telling me that he would take a month or two And I think he had a place in Mexico or somewhere where he would go and he would just read scripts for like a month or two. And I would kill for that time now. I just don't have the time to do that. But he took the time to do that, and he carefully selected, and he thought about his audience. He thought about what people would want, you know. I miss him terribly.
You know, as the CEO or the COO, okay, you're the money guy. Yeah. So it's, as you know, you can't run a not-for-profit because you're always fundraising. Always. It never ends.
No, I know.
So what shape are you guys in?
We're in good shape.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You have a lot of community support. You always have had.
Yeah. I mean, Lilly Endowment, nobody in this city could survive without them.
Of course.
So they're our biggest supporter. The Clues Foundation has been on board with us since not only the American Cabaret Theatre days, but since Claude founded, Claude McNeal Productions. And then we have smaller foundations, a little bit from the Indianapolis Foundation. We get money from the Summer Youth Program Fund every year. We're branching out in the last 6 months to community foundations, as I said. So,
how about corporate support?
No, we need to do better with that. So, we haven't always. Back in the American Cabaret Theatre days, Marsh was a big supporter. They're no longer really around, but they supported our advertising. Yeah.
Banks, insurance companies.
We get a little bit from each one of those, but nothing that's like a seasoned supporter.
Sure. So now that you've got this new venture going, though, with your theater production, you can make some changes with that.
Oh, yeah.
Make it marketing opportunities, for instance.
Exactly.
Because that's what people are looking for.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Well, supporting your mission, but if you can market their products too. It's my experience in running my own company. And how about donor? How about philanthropists? Do they support your work?
They do. I mean, John Mutz is our biggest individual donor, and he continues to support our programs, to this day. But we're working on our individual donor base. We've only had about four main stage shows in the last 2 years. So we're trying to build up that donor base.
Do you have a development director?
No, that's me.
Yeah.
So, I mean, as you know, we have a staff of actually 5 people.
Yes.
But it's kind of individualized, but I end up doing a lot of the 4 or 5 different jobs,
Sure. Is Claude still fundraise?
He is. Yeah, he still does.
He's the face of the organization, and that's, in my experience again, donors want to see the head guy.
Yeah. So
do you guys ever, and tell me about, do you have a good board of directors?
We do.
Well, you have to say that.
Yeah. No. Well, I mean, I think if I talk to any nonprofit, like the one thing that nonprofits, every single theater company that I talk to says, well, we need more help with the board raising money. So, but they know that. So,
Is your board pretty active?
There. And we have like a former educator, Wanda Reese, who used to work for IPS. She was the head of their alternative education departments. We have African-American chair, Chuck Gilbert, who works for Black Onyx Management, which is a fairly new firm, but he's got connections to banks and things like that. So, yeah.
And do you do you have ties to the LGBT community?
Yes, I mean,
Indiana Rainbow Chamber of Commerce, for instance.
Yeah, I mean, we need to work better, to do better on that. So, but we do have some connections through Act Out where they might perform for some of their functions.
Yes,
but we need to.
Then again, based on my own experience, that it's not just one audience. You've got demos, you got demographics.
Yes, yeah,
and there are a lot of them out there, and it's like you have to reach them all.
Right.
Yeah.
I know. So
you just can't throw out a wide net anymore. Right?
No. We have our due diligence to do, but I mean, we can always be more inclusive of.
And as you know too, when you program, when you do your season, do you have to keep that in mind too? That I'm not talking about. It's changed a lot. It was at one time considered quota. You had to have a quota. I've got to do my black play. I've got to do my this play. We've got to do my whatever.
We're not really thinking along those lines. Everything we do, we try to be inclusive. We're thinking about what's going on in the country right now.
What I should say is the people moved away from that attitude.
Oh, right.
That it's not, we do this because we sincerely believe what we should do work that reflects the community.
Right. And that's how we're thinking. So, but we're not thinking, well, we have to do fill a quota here or that way. Yeah.
How about an eye towards the commercial stuff that sells tickets?
Well, we're thinking about possibly doing a book show. We did Jesus Christ Superstar in December of 24, and that brought in a whole new audience. And we're thinking about doing a book show next year. I'm not sure. We're thinking about possibly Dear Evan Hansen.
How about a holiday show?
We're doing a Christmas show.
Okay.
So we did one last year, Rock and Roll Christmas.
You gotta have a cash cow, don't you?
Yeah. That used to be our cash cow at the Athenaeum. We ran six shows a week. We only do 3 here at McGowan, but hopefully that'll build itself. A lot of people, that was their tradition, like going to the IRT for a Christmas Carol. A lot of people, because we were the alternative choice to that. So now there's so many, but we did a rock and roll Christmas show last year from music, from holiday music, rock and roll music from the 50s to present day. And that was a really big hit. And that was the first time we used videos. And so we're bringing back that this year, Rock and Roll Part 2. So we're going to add some things to it.
Do you have a house band?
We do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How many musicians?
4.
Okay.
For Superstar, we had 6 because it was a bigger show, 16 people in the cast. And
who's your music director?
Her name is Ginger Stoltz.
Okay. Ginger, that name sounds familiar.
She's been doing a lot the last few years at Actors Theatre of Indiana. She's doing Ride the Cyclone at Phoenix as we speak.
Okay.
She teaches music up at Ball State for the last couple of years. We found her back in, actually it was 2019 with Pippin.
Who was your music director at American Cabaret?
Well, we had 3 different ones. Once it was Ray Larman.
Yeah, Ray.
Yeah,
Ray. It's Ray that I knew.
Yeah, he was for years. And then we had a guy named John Butch who,
of course.
And then he passed away. And Mike Murray, who was an actor, also, he became our music director.
Of course, I knew all 3. Ray Larman often performed with Shannon.
Yes. Yeah, he's fantastic.
Yeah, is he still around?
Yeah, we saw him. We had a birthday party for Claude back in early June.
Is he still performing?
Ray? No, he's not really.
I mean, Ray? No. Ray is okay.
He's not, but he's. We might bring him back for a couple of things next year because he has the time, he says. So, I mean, he was just a joy to work with. So knowledgeable and really helped.
And, of course, I knew John Butch for years. I knew his family. And actually, wasn't his memorial service held at the Athenaeum?
It was. It was such we had just left there, but I went to the memorial service, and I was close with his niece, Ajna. She was
yes.
She was in our little shop when we did that in 2001.
Oh, that's right. And she moved to Paris to France.
She's
still in France. She married an English boy.
I think she's still in France. That's what I see on Facebook.
We lost touch, but the whole family, it was, I knew the whole family. And John was, for our listeners, John was tragically murdered in his home in Woodruff. It was just an amazing shock.
It was terrible.
He was incredible. Talented.
Oh my gosh, yes.
Talk about he was a child prodigy.
He was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I worked with him once, and we did a show called Cabaret Fest when I was in charge of the Bob Beckman Theater. I don't know if you remember that.
Yeah.
But we did a thing called Cabaret Fest, and I used a lot of your people from your cast.
Yeah.
Worked with Peggy and Shannon, and it was just an honor. Yeah. And Peggy passed away.
She did. I think it was 3-4 years ago, I think.
Mm-hmm.
So.
And do you and Brenda, does she ever come back to do stuff for
No,
you?
I'd like to. I mean, she's doing a lot of her own thing right now, a lot at the Jazz Kitchen and some other places. We did a production of Cole and Hoagie, Cole Porter and Hoagie Carmichael in 24.
Really?
Yeah, we combined them together. We did a show on just Cole Porter and a show on just Hoagie, but we combined both of them for one cabaret show that Jerry directed, and Brenda actually came to see it. And so that was 2 years ago. That was the last time I saw her. But
and are you still performing?
No, it's been probably 12 years.
You were an excellent performer. I was a big fan of yours.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. I sometimes miss it, but as I get older, I get more joy out of seeing other people, helping them realize what they can do.
Well, you're an educator as well in your heart, right?
I guess. Yeah, I am. I mean, I would never go into a school and teach. I don't have that patience, but I love.
Well, you like to run the administrative part of the making all that happen.
I do, but I also, my heart is in directing right now. I just really love that. So I'm hoping to, within the next couple of years, move into the artistic director position at Claude McNeal Productions, and we'll do a search for a managing director.
Okay.
And it might be this instance like IRT has the co-managing kind of co-people. They have the managing director and artistic.
That model has worked quite well.
Yeah, I think
people in this town.
I think so because of the history.
David Hochoy and trying to think of her name. She retired after a long time.
Yeah, but I think because of the history I have with the company, I couldn't just like leave the administrative side, right away. I'd have to be involved in that part for a while.
How does it feel to know that you've made a living off of your passion?
It's incredible. I'm so lucky.
Yeah.
I mean, Claude always said you can go to New York, try to do that thing. And we have one guy, Stephen Taylor, that worked with us. He's from Arsenal Tech, but he's now Mufasa on Broadway. And he's been with them for 20 years now, Disney.
Really?
But he's very talented. I don't know if I was that talented or not, but I didn't want to do the whole starving artist thing. And he's like, well, there's a job for you here if you want to stay with us. And I've been with him for 33 years now, and I've made a living. I'm so lucky, to say I work in the theater, especially nonprofit theater. So,
for our listeners, what do you all need right now? What are some practical things for listeners? How can you be helped?
Well, I think the biggest thing is that to help spread the word, word of mouth, getting audiences in. We need volunteers to help distribute flyers, to help with mailings, and we always can use in-kind donations, of material or lumber.
You don't have a volunteer group? Like a theater wing or anything?
Not well, we did at the cabaret. We're hoping to. We're meeting. We've had some people from the Indianapolis Ambassadors.
They still around?
They are,
okay.
And they help us to hand out playbills.
Usher
and Usher, yeah. And we're hosting a meeting in October with them to get them more involved. So we're starting to develop that, but. Really, I mean, it's been almost 20 years since we had shows at the Athenaeum, so people kind of forgot that, they used to do those shows that they called at the American Now it's just the cabaret. It's different. It's, it's different. It's apples and oranges, but so there's only a handful of people that might still be alive that saw those shows back then, but we have had some repeat people that have come in the last couple of years say, well, I saw this show 20 years ago at the Athenaeum, but we just need help in spreading the word that we're still around. We're still, we're trying to build up our main stage audiences like they used to be,
How are your audience sizes right now?
I mean, they're okay. I mean, but that hall seats 400 people,
yes.
And we set it up for about 150, so it, otherwise you'd have all these empty seats. So, I mean, we're at maybe, 50% capacity, for those, but a lot of the shows that I'll go see at smaller places, they might seat like 30 or 50 people and they're full, but we have this big space. So I mean, at the Athenaeum, it took, a good 5 or 6 years to build up that audience. So, and we've only been here for 2.5, and it's going to take us another couple of years to build it up. But,
I'm sorry, how long were you at the American Cabaret or Athenaeum?
Athenaeum was from 1990 to 2006.
Okay.
I was there from 93 to 2006.
So how many years was that again?
Well, I was only there for 13 years.
You're saying how long it took for you to build the audience?
It took, they moved in in 1990. It wasn't probably till 95 that the audiences really started to build. I had been there a couple of years.
So you're saying 5 or 6 years to build that up.
To build that up, and it was my last involvement with American Cabaret Theatre was the end of 2005. So it's been 21 years since we've had those main stage shows performed, so there's not a lot of people around that saw a lot of those, Yeah. So.
Yeah. Well, I did.
Yeah. I'm so glad you did. Yeah.
No, again, it had a huge influence on me in so many ways. I'm a lover of the Great American Songbook, and, it was just, you introduced me to a lot of the repertoire, actually. I came out of musical theater, but learning about the music of the 20s, 30s, and 40s. And of course, as you know, the Great American Songbook continues. What do you think about what Michael Feinstein has done up with the Songbook Academy and the Foundation?
I think it's amazing. It's incredible. I mean, to me, the more the merrier. So I think it's just wonderful what he's been up there. I actually went up. Well, I was up at the Hotel Carmichael, but that was for a burlesque show a couple of weeks ago. So that wasn't, part of that. But I think it's just amazing what he's done up there. And I was when I graduated from Indiana State, I was a theater major, but mostly straight plays. I dabbled in some musicals. But what I love about the cabaret art form is that it mixes all of these different art forms. It mixes visual art, it mixes dance, it mixes storytelling, it mixes song. And I learned, every time we do a show, I learn these new songs. I didn't know that composer wrote it, or I didn't know the song. So it's been an incredible learning experience for anybody that's involved in the cabaret world.
Do you still have your performers, or maybe may I imagine this, but don't your performers, when they introduce songs, they give it a little bit of history of the song, or any of that?
Well, yeah, yes.
Or do you have an MC? I can't remember.
Usually we have a narrator.
Or
an MC. Or we have, like Claude did a show my second year there, or actually my first year there. It was called Bernstein's Broadway. And we did all of his songs, but I played Bernstein. So sometimes he'll write the character to be, the
Gotcha.
that person.
I remember that there's an educational component in terms of the MC or a narrator.
Yeah, it's either a narrator or it's a person playing that composer,
yes, that's right,
and other family members. So like
I'm
decades.
Talking about I wrote this song, or this song is inspired by,
or they'll reenact how this song got created, or whatever.
I wrote it this year, blah blah blah.
Yeah,
and then you've got the visual.
Yeah, Decades is the only show in our repertoire that doesn't have any.
It's a real sensory
dialogue.
Experience.
It is. It ties everything in.
Yeah. So what do you say to young people out there who've never experienced this art form, and why they should come and see your shows?
That's a good question. Well, I think they're going to find at Claude McNeal Productions, our cabaret shows do give you that intimate experience that you might be looking for, but also has a broader look and feel to it. Claude very carefully called it the American Cabaret Theatre because it was more than just a person singing a song at a piano. He wanted you to have a full experience of like a Broadway show, but I think they're going to be amazed at the amount of talent in this city. Not just in our theater, but in other theaters, but they're going to see young people up there intensely telling the story of a song, and the way that that Claude McNeal Productions presents the shows with the visuals, it's a totally immersive experience. So we want you to come away feeling something about this country, about this song, about this composer, about yourself. I always tell the performers, it's harder to be a cabaret performer than to be in a book show, because in a book show, you have the character to hide behind and you have the lines there to tell you kind of what to do. I said, in a cabaret show, you are the character, you yourself, but you're pulling different pieces out of different emotions, different memories out of yourself to share with the audience and bring them along with you in this experience. So to me, it's all, even my first show I saw was a Christmas show, and Shannon Purcell sang this song called Another Silent Night, which was about an AIDS victim. And I was like, I was blown away that someone would do a song like that in a Christmas show. And it touched my soul. And that's what we try to do, with every show. We try to just really reach people where they are, and I think if they're looking for an honest portrayal of a song, or they like this decade of music or that type of music, that we have a wide variety of things to show them.
Well, this has been very enlightening for me, and I'm delighted we had a chance to catch up.
Yeah.
And I'm excited I'll be there opening night of Decades. I'm not quite sure when this drops. It may be after the fact, but you may still be running the show. But nevertheless, I really wanted to find out about your role, and you've given me a really good view. And, for those listening, I would encourage you to visit this space, the McGowan Hall. it's a best kept secret for many of us. You
Yeah.
know, I'm sure there are a lot of old timers who know what it is and what it's about. But, you know, and by the way, what's fabulous about it is there's like tons of parking.
Yeah.
Free parking.
It's amazing.
That's something for you guys to plug, you know.
Oh, we do. And everything.
How many spaces are there?
67.
And if you needed to park in the neighborhood, there's all kinds of parking.
Yeah,
it's
all
not
free.
that resident kind of parking situation, though, is it? Do
Well,
they have meters over there?
They don't have meters, so you can park on the street for free on Delaware Street.
Yeah.
Or 13th Street. There's more spaces on Delaware.
And that's the
but-
biggest complaint about downtown is the parking.
I know.
It's not an issue for you guys.
And I mean, unless we're full, there's been times where people have had to park on the street or park a block away, but you
Yeah.
don't have to pay for any of it. So, you know.
Okay, so once again, how can people get tickets to Decades?
Sure. So they can go on our website, claudemcnealproductions.com, click on Get Tickets right there. Or they can call our box office at 317-340-4258. They can get tickets over the phone. They can stop in the day of. We run July 31st through August 9th.
Are you on social media?
We are. We have a Facebook page. We have Instagram. We have LinkedIn, Twitter. So they can find us at Facebook.com/Claude McNeal Productions. We advertise all of our shows on different theater community groups too on Facebook. So,
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, again, thank you for taking the time to chat with me, and
thank you.
I'll see you on the aisle.
Yep. Appreciate it.
Our thanks go out to our media sponsor, Urban Times. Urban Times is a monthly news magazine which serves as the official newsletter for 15 Indianapolis neighborhoods, offering news about development, arts and entertainment, and from the business community. Thank you for joining me on the aisle. Please subscribe to my podcast, and if you want to hear previous episodes, find them on the All Indiana Podcast Network, or listen to them wherever you get your podcasts. This is Tom Alvarez.
Who will take center stage on the podcast next? Your seat on the aisle with Tom Alvarez awaits. Follow Tom on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok, and make sure to visit tomalvarez.studio. Watch Tom every other Thursday on Lifestyle Live on Wish TV, and make sure to listen every week here on the All Indiana Podcast Network.